Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome to Reserve Seating. My name is Rob DiCristino.
And I'm Adam Risky. This is our final Scary Movie Month 2021 reserve seating. So, what we will be doing in this episode is recapping our month and talking about movies that we mentioned in earlier episodes, new to me movies that were noteworthy, our best rewatches, how we're finishing the month. And then, of course, we'll wrap it up with trailers for Rob's double feature of the weekend.
Yes. All right. So, why don't we start with talking a little bit about where we plan to go and how well that plan really worked out? Because if you're anything like me, and I know a lot of folks are, it didn't work out at all. My plan was I actually texted you and Patrick that I was going to do this Scary Movie Month All Stars thing where I picked a bunch. I picked like 31 movies that I loved in previous Scary Movie Months, movies that I'd seen for the first time, and that I was like, I've seen, you know, bad movies more than once, and I saw this one random movie that I loved, and I never rewatched it again. So I'm going to go back and rewatch a bunch of those.
Mm.
Haven't done it yet.
We got some time. As of this recording, we still have a little over a week. So
yeah, we are recording this a little bit early. So we do have we have about a little over a week left in Scary Movie Month. So we will hopefully get to some of these. But yeah, it's been interesting to see how quickly my plans always fall apart. And every year I tell myself, you know what, next year I'm not even going to make a plan. I'm just going to watch whatever. And then every year I try to make a plan, never works out. But Adam, were there any movies that you said you were going to rewatch, or anything we talked about on the previous episodes that you ended up revisiting?
so I watched Fear.com and Session 9 for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought both were they evened out at basically equally average. However, Fear.com felt like a pleasant surprise because it had like a 3% tomato meter. So I was just like, these people were too hard on this movie. It's kind of interesting. Whereas Session 9 has this cult following, and I thought it was just kind of eh. Like it started out interesting where these guys were just sort of like working, removing asbestos from the sanitarium. And I sort of just wanted to see them like continue working with no supernatural stuff happening.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like the haunting happens and it's just like I'm less interested in this. So and then I rewatched Night of the Demons and I felt a little bit more favorably about it. However, I'm still not quite there of being a fan of the movie.
Okay.
So Rob, what new to me movies did you see for the first time in October that you would either recommend or you would recommend people stay away from?
So so first time viewings for me have been light. It's either been, and I'm paraphrasing Patrick here. I've been mostly been watching things I've been writing about.
Mhm.
So I saw things like The Manor and Madres. I don't know what's going on with Blumhouse. I don't know that they just forgot how to make movies, or I don't really know what's going on there. They sold Amazon a bill of goods, I think, because those movies were not very good. Um, I got through the Resident Evil movies, which we'll talk about maybe in a second. And other than that, I only have one other first time watch so far this month that I really, really enjoyed. And I guess I'll talk about that first. And that was Dead and Buried.
Yeah, that's a great
Which
movie.
which I watched for the first time on, I guess, Patrick's recommendation, because I think Patrick programmed it in his 1981 column that he did. And that, I mean, that was great. That was just perfect synergy of effects and just performances and twists, and without really spoiling too much of it, if it's just this sort of murder conspiracy on a seaside town. There's some, actually, I feel like telling you what kind of creature it is would almost spoil it, but it's kind of a creature feature as well in a little bit of a fashion, and I really, really liked it a lot.
I love seaside horror movies. Those are the best.
What's your top seaside horror? What's the top three?
Well, I think Carnival of Souls is up there, but Night Tide is also pretty great.
I've never seen Night Tide.
There's a segment in the movie Holidays with Jocelyn Donahue. It's called Father's Day, where she goes to like this seaside town, and Michael Gross does the voice of her lost father, and it's like such a great short segment of an anthology.
I haven't seen either of those, so that's awesome. Yeah,
it's really good.
But
So
Denbury was great.
yeah, so for me, I mentioned a few new to me movies that I enjoyed on the podcast. So not to repeat myself, what I'll do is quickly I'll mention those again. Messiah of Evil is really good. The movie I don't think is as strong as some of the individual segments, but there's some like segments in the movie that are just tremendous. One's in a movie theater, one's in a supermarket. And then I also like Torture Garden a lot, which is an Amicus anthology. 4 stories, 3 out of the 4 of them I think are really good and entertaining. But the one I want to mention is I had heard for years that I should seek out the movie A Chinese Ghost Story, and it was hard to find, and I finally saw that it was available on Amazon Prime, so I watched it. And it's sort of like a combo of like a wuxia and like demon movie, like kind of like a Hausu type thing.
Nice.
And I lost patience with it so quickly that I've never done this before. About halfway through the movie, I just turned off the subtitles and I just stared at it until the end, where I'm just
How did
like,
that go?
I'm like, the dialogue doesn't matter to me. I'm just gonna wait this out. And it was probably my least favorite new to me watch, because I had heard in like it was in all these books where like these are the horror movies you have to see before you die, and I'm like, I feel like I'm in the process of dying right now.
A couple other first time watches. I finally ended up watching the original House on Haunted Hill, which I'd never seen before.
Yeah, that's a fun movie.
Which is great. And I was recognizing the Clue influence, or the influence on Clue, because Clue was a movie I loved growing up, and I obviously understand that Clue is based on the premise of the game, but just how much of it is really, a lot of it's pulled from House on Haunted Hill. Just a lot of the sort of eccentricities of that movie. And then I finally caught up with last year's Freaky, the
Mhm.
the Freaky Friday
Yep.
movie. That one's a lot of fun. More than anything, though, it made me want to rewatch one of our favorite movies from last year, which was Spontaneous.
Yes, spontaneous.
So, did you have any other like really good first time watches, or just it was just those?
Not especially. I found more enjoyment on rewatches, because one of the things that I was doing this year was I was making a point of rewatching things I wasn't super familiar with. So like things that I saw once in theaters and then never came back to, or haven't seen in several years. So some of those are like, I rewatched The Faculty over the weekend and I liked it more than I ever have, which is kind of surprising. I was not expecting that.
Is that like the just the novelty of like watching something from a period, like a clearly delineated period of horror, where it's like 90s horror, late 90s horror, that's post Scream, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So like
it's Kevin Williamson scripted.
that genre of horror,
Dimension.
did it just
Yeah,
feel really good to rewatch that? Yeah.
yeah, I think it was that. I think because Scream is in the air right now,
Yeah.
like I was kind of jonesing for a late 90s teen horror movie from Miramax. So like that kind of, so it really hit the sweet spot. And then I went on a run over the past couple nights of just like double featuring things like kind of accidentally. So like one night I watched The Visit and The Mangler, and then another night I watched 10 Cloverfield Lane and The Witch, and they all like were really fun rewatches. I really enjoyed them just as much or more than I had before. So I'm noticing that on for the last few days of the month, I'm going to be really kind of more focusing on going to events and then also rewatching stuff or seeing things in theaters and things like that.
I do need to do briefly a Resident Evil corner here, okay?
Of course. I can totally picture when we do Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, where I say like 30 seconds and then I just sit back and let you roll,
That
which would
one,
be fun. And
folks.
my 30 seconds will basically be like, I liked when Kaya Scodelario had more goop on her.
Yeah, I like when she was goopy. The character of Claire Redfield that she's playing does canonically go into a sewer in her storyline. So if she gets goopy,
I'm planning on wrapping up my month with Scream and Mulholland Drive as rewatches, and then I also need to see Salem's Lot finally,
yes.
just to check that box. And then I am going to the 24-hour horror movie marathon this weekend at the Music Box. I'm not staying for the whole time, but I'm going to be there for Straight Jacket and Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde and Ghost Watch, which I'm really excited about, and then some rewatches of Night of the Living Dead remake, Phantasm 2, and Arachnophobia. So that should be fun.
That'll be awesome.
So Rob, you have one more double feature left for the month.
Yes.
So can you tell me what it is so I can help you plan some trailers?
Yeah. So I've got, I went comedy this time. I went with The Cabin in the Woods and Psycho Gorman.
Okay. Have you seen?
Which I think is a new classic. Psycho Gorman, I think, is a new classic.
Okay, good. Yeah, I really like that movie a lot. I think it could, if the year ended today, it would be in my top 10. So I would say so I toyed with Marvel horror, like of the original Avengers horror movies, but I wasn't coming up with enough stuff that I was happy with. So I'm just gonna be plain and go cabin horror for Cabin in the Woods. So trailers for The Evil Dead, Cabin Fever, and Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
All good choices.
And for PG Psycho Gorman, I wanted to go with E.T. ripoffs. So Flight of the Navigator, Mac and Me, and Star Kid.
Nice. That's awesome. That'll be great.
So that is our show. Thank you for spending Scary Movie Month with us, everybody, and coming with us on this new video journey. Hope you're liking it. We are going to bring back the Al Pacino series, Al Pacino, starting next week. And this is exciting because we sort of soft planned ending the series with Scarface because we have run through all of the good ones pretty much for Al Pacino. But then we took a sabbatical from Mr. Pacino, and then we both came up with, hey, we need to come back with a bang. Let's do Scarface. So we'll probably end with like Revolution or something weird. But so we'll be back next week with Scarface. Looking forward to being out of costume because this mustache is itching.
I like the ears.
Thank you so much. I love the ears. So until next time,
these seats are reserved. Happy Scary Movie Month, everybody.